Can you start a podcast with me, please? I need something to do.
Pastrnak sent it out in front of Malkin to save. They score! Elias Lindholm looks to the heavens.
Here's a chance. Potter right in on goal. He scores. Oh my! What a move by the rookie.
2-on-1. Pastrnak moving in with Marchand. Get into it. Score!
The zone. Coyle dances in. Backhand score!
Lindholm right wing corner. Pastrnak is there. He scores! David Pastrnak wins it for Boston.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode of Bruins Tape to Tape. I'm your host this week, Caroline with a K, and I am joined today by my fantastic co-host, Maria from Watertown. Hey, Maria.
Hey, Caroline. How goes it?
It goes. I believe we are about a month away from the postseason. We're recording today on March 16th, and when you hear this, it'll be St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day for...
Oh, and a shout out to my son. Happy birthday. Today is his birthday.
Aw, happy birthday. So we are pretty close to the end. And as a hockey fan, I'll take a step back and say, as a hockey fan, this is a very exciting time of year in general. I think that this final stretch of anywheres from 15 to 18 games remaining for all of the teams is going to be exciting and thrilling. And let's just hope we don't have a doodlebug race, that whoever ends up in the wild card spots are two teams that actually want them. And I'm not sure that the Bruins are a team that actually wants that, because I'm getting a little bit of a doodlebug feeling from this team right now.
Well, it's been a slog in the East from the drop of the puck back in October, right? Mm-hmm. There have been, right now, the only really two teams that stand out, I guess, for lack of a better word, are the Carolina Hurricanes and the Buffalo Sabres. Who would have ever thought we would say that? The Buffalo Sabres could very well win the Eastern Conference.
Mind-boggling. Not only did we not think that could ever be possible 6 months ago, I don't think we ever thought that would be possible 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Right. I mean, both the Hurricanes and the Buffalo Sabres have a decent, I don't want to say stranglehold on the East, but, Tampa is still threatening, and Tampa has a couple of games in hand on those teams. Yeah. But, right now, the Carolina Hurricanes sit atop the Eastern Conference with 66 games played and 90 points. Buffalo, 67 games played, 88 points. Tampa, 65 games, 84 points. And everyone else is in what you refer to as that doodlebug race to get playoff positioning for a wild card spot. And our Boston Bruins seem to be doing anything but trying to control their own freaking destiny where this is concerned.
The only thing that gives me some hope, in spite of the, let's call it, uninspired play that we've seen since
That's
the break.
A good way of putting it. It has been totally uninspiring. Yep.
The only thing that I think is in Boston's favor right now, again, Monday, March 16th, they do play tonight. So by the time you hear this, things will have changed. However, Boston does have a positive goal differential. And that is very often a pretty strong indicator that odds are they will make it to the postseason. Right now, of the teams that are...
I don't know. You were more confident than I, because I'm looking at this schedule here for March, and There are no easy games here.
That being said, the only team right now in the East that currently sits in a playoff position that has a negative differential is the Detroit Red Wings. They have a -6. And my next little kind of asterisk to all of this is the two teams that are really knocking on the door, that are a legitimate threat to Boston losing that position of right now number 1 wild card. The Columbus Blue Jackets have a positive goal differential. They have a +4.
Yep.
And they have 79 points to Boston's 80. And the Ottawa Senators
I'm telling you, watch out.
77 points.
Yeah.
So they're 3 points back, but they have a +20 goal differential.
Yeah.
Now, all three of those teams also have played 66 games. So it's pretty much neck and neck there to the end, because like you said, Tampa Bay somehow, how I just don't understand, has the most games in hand with 65. 84 points. I don't know that any one of these teams really can catch up. I mean, they've got a +49 goal differential.
Right.
Montreal is sitting in that third position in the Atlantic with 82 points and a +13. So, I think we're looking at Montreal is looking in their rearview mirror, like you said, the Penguins, the Islanders looking in that rearview mirror and paying very close attention to the Bruins, the Red Wings, the Blue Jackets, and the Senators.
And
I'm not quite so sure that Philadelphia, I mean, unless those teams that I just mentioned if any one of them has some sort of catastrophic collapse,
right.
I don't know that the Flyers are really going to be in a position to make it. I'm not so sure about the Capitals either. So
the Red Wings are teetering. They are without Dylan Larkin, and there's no information as to when he's expected back.
Mm-hmm.
And I also do believe that they have been struggling to string together wins since Larkin went out of the lineup.
Yeah.
So, but again, that should not factor in when you're the Boston Bruins or any other team. You have to go about the business of securing points.
Yep, exactly. And well, let's talk really quickly, as we set the table, because there's a lot of stuff to talk about happening around the league.
Yeah.
Because it's been a busy week.
It's been a busy
league-wide.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's really quickly, since we're talking about the playoff picture and what we've just finished talking about, kind of where the Bruins have been, you mentioned the upcoming schedule and the difficulty that lies ahead for Boston. So who do we have coming up and what are the concerns?
Well, the concerns is for the remainder of the month of March, you are facing the likes of New Jersey, Montreal, Detroit, Columbus, and Buffalo, all on the road.
Yeah. How have we been on the road?
We have sucked on the road. I mean, you can't put it any other way. And then the games that you have at home at the TD Garden, you will be facing the likes of the Winnipeg Jets, Minnesota Wild, the Dallas Stars, and I believe the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who knows if this season is over? Their captain I think they're not making the playoffs. So, but they seem to be playing with a bit of a sense of urgency since Austin Matthews went down with the season-ending injury, and we'll get to all of that. But these are not cupcake teams that you're facing, whether you're at home or you're on the road.
Yeah.
And so if you want to prove that you prove your worth and your worthiness as a potential playoff contender, then you need to play competitive games against, the likes of the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild and the Buffalo Sabres and the Montreal Canadiens and potentially the Blue Jackets too. These are all, if not already locked in playoff teams, they are preparing themselves to also be a playoff team.
Right. Well, especially considering we're up against teams that are almost guaranteed a playoff spot. And again, like you said, they're fighting for it. So who wants it more?
Who wants it more? Right. So this is why when you have games that you look back on and you say to yourself, right? And we've talked about it. That's a bad loss. That game is going to leave a mark. Not taking points when you play the likes of, the Nashville Predators or the games early on in October where you pissed away points because you're your own worst enemy. So, I'm sure we're not saying anything that hasn't crossed the minds of the Bruins coaching staff or the players themselves. However, it doesn't give me a great deal of confidence when I see that the guys that we were relying on at the start or middle of the season, or actually before the break, who have been contributing offensively to now being anemic.
Yeah.
When it comes to offense, that you can have all the great goaltending you want. And luckily we're getting very good goaltending, and I'm sure we'll break down a little bit of the recent games, but you still have to be able to put the puck in the net.
Yep. Yeah, it's been more than disappointing. It's certainly been frustrating to see the number of instances where, when we're talking about the big boys, David Pastrnak, Morgan Geekie, certainly.
No. And I'm going to throw in Elias Lindholm because where is he? He's disappeared. He has totally disappeared.
The biggest difference I would say between him and, let's say, Pasta and Geekie, at least in this past week, Pasta and Geekie have had chances. They've been there, and it's just not converting. Players like Elias Lindholm, are you even there? I don't know. Well, at this point, the second line
he was contributing
is running
on
the show.
He was contributing, at least popping in some power play goals. But I did a little research this morning because I was bored and I'm aggravated with the Bruins power play. So I went back and looked at from the start of when the season re-engaged after the Olympic break.
Yeah.
How many power play opportunities the Bruins have had in the games starting February 26th up through and including the most recent game on Saturday. And the Bruins have had no less than 32 power play opportunities and have scored 4 goals, but they've also given up 2 shorthanded goals.
Yeah.
The power play sucks right now.
Yes. Yeah. They need it badly, and it's completely non-existent. It's not even anemic. It's non-existent. I mean, just looking at this past week, the number of times where they couldn't even maintain control, forget the 2 shorties that they've allowed since the break. They can't even stay in the zone. They can't get set up. They're chasing after guys who are able to poke it out of the zone, and off they go. And again, we say this over and over again. It's like all of these games matter because they are up against a lot of different expectations. There, the expectations of the fans, and let me be clear: what the expectation is the same, but the different people, the different groups. It's the fans, it's the ownership, it's themselves and their teammates, and we know again that they have what it takes. So where is it? Where is it? I don't know, Maria. I don't know.
I mean, it's a positive and a little bit of a negative to me when I look and I see that in these 9 games played since the break, Charlie McAvoy is the leading scorer.
Yeah.
The leading point getter for the Bruins. He has, in 9 games, 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind him is Victor Arvidsson.
Yeah.
4 goals, 5 points. Pavel Zacha, 4 goals, 5 points.
Right.
Pasta, only 2 goals, but 6 assists. But he's got to start shooting. Like, he has got to start shooting the damn puck again. He has to. He has to. Okay?
He's way low on goals.
Way low on goals. All right? And then when you go down through the rest of this, you got Casey Middlestat with 5 points, and then Geeky, only 3 points. Lindholm, only 3 points in 9 games.
Yep.
Marat Hustadinov, only 2 points.
Right.
The energy line of Corrali, Esimont, and Kastelik, between them, I think they have a total of maybe 3 points in 9 games. Like, you simply need more. This is not a good recipe for sustained success.
I kind of wonder, because I was thinking about when you mentioned something to me during one of the games about how Charlie McAvoy, that the Olympics did something good for him, right? That it I don't know, maybe energized him, because we've always known that he has been that player deep down. We've seen the flashes of it in the past, and maybe this just inspired him, and so he's brought it back to Boston. But why do you think, and maybe there's nothing here, why do you think his re-energized play out on the ice isn't influencing any of the rest of the team? Why is he seemingly existing in this vacuum of, I'm the one here excited, I got the energy, I've got the get up and go, and like literally nobody else does?
Right. I don't know, because normally, right, you follow the lead of your leaders, right?
Yeah.
So is it a question of I'm just talking off the top of my head, right?
Mm.
Are they not buying in to him being a leader? I don't know. But typically when you see a player who is exhibiting that type of play consistently, and, I have been a critic of Charlie McAvoy's, and I think I've been justified in my criticism because, right?
Yeah.
I find it frustrating when a player of the caliber of a Charlie McAvoy, we've been told this is the caliber of play we should have been expecting from him, right?
Yep.
Needs that motivation of the 4 Nations or the Olympics. Dude, why haven't you brought that from the beginning? Okay, it's here now. Great. Okay. I want you to maintain that. But I don't understand why it's not permeating throughout the rest of the lineup. I don't understand. Now, I'm not saying that, players are dogging it. I don't believe that they're dogging it. I think that they are still playing with a sense of energy and commitment. But I did see in the San Jose game levels of frustration building up, and I think those frustrations definitely bubbled over during the game on Saturday, especially when they pissed away a 5-on-3 power play opportunity And ESPN was kind of scanning the bench, and you could see Pasta was pissed just because I could read his lips. And there were other players who were chirping about their frustration. Now, if your sticks, right, and I do believe that this is a thing, right? Your stick starts to get tighter and tighter and tighter.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and I think the narrative that they've been so bad on the road probably has also been getting to them, and it was a combination of what you just said, with the power play and converting on those chances, and then also them being on the road compounded things. And I completely agree. I think we're starting to see them just grip those sticks a little too hard, and maybe the win in Washington will be enough to kind of make them feel like monkey off their backs. I would be a little surprised if it did the trick, because it wasn't like a real win. It was a shootout win.
And can I just say this for the record?
Yes.
Both the Boston Bruins and the Washington Capitals suck at shootouts. That was
torture.
Brutal to watch. Absolutely brutal. And if the league doesn't take a look at that specific shootout and say, we bored our viewers to death. We bored our viewers to death. Say what you will about the commentary about the 3-on-3 and needing to make changes to that because of the coming in of, and coming out of the zone. But the shootout, that was an abomination. Yeah. An abomination on Saturday.
9 rounds. But Jeremy Swayman now holds the record for longest perfect number of rounds of a shootout for the Boston Bruins, beating out Tim Thomas, who had a record 8. He now has 9. So,
well, Logan Thompson, if the posts or the pipes were animated objects, they should both take their pipes out to dinner, because they were saved on more than one occasion by pucks. I mean, I have just never seen such uncreative shootout shot. I mean, it was bad. It was
Pastos was bad.
Oh my God. They
were just all terrible.
Stick needles in my eyes. I wanted to stick needles in my eyes. And I'm just, at that point, I was like, I don't even care who scores. I just need to move on from this. Okay.
Yeah. No, that was brutal. But anyways, so we've talked a little bit about what's coming up ahead.
The road ahead is not easy. The road ahead is not easy.
There are a number of divisional games that are yet to be played, and the fact that the Columbus Blue Jackets, Boston still has 2 more games to play against them.
Yeah.
Because that was the latest team, the last team to play for any of the other teams, basically. It was the last first game of a series to happen across the league. So they literally only just played them the first time, and they still have 2 more games against them. And they're a very legit threat.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Boston really... They won, right? I can't even remember now.
Yes, they did. They did.
It wasn't like a blowout.
No. It was. Let's see. Is this 4-2? That was right after that game happened. Right after there was the first game, coming out of the break, and it was I believe it was in Columbus. Oh, no. It was at the TD Garden. And the Bruins won 4-2. One was a empty net goal by Arvidsson to seal the deal. Yeah. So, and actually,
it was
Jonas Korpisalo played pretty well in that game, but since then had not played well. And so, again, we can talk about this too, but I think it was imperative on the part of the Boston Bruins to have Jeremy Swayman. He has got to bear the brunt of the workload moving forward. You're being paid as a number one. You yourself said you wanted to be the guy, so to speak. and it's put up or shut up time, because you're going to be the guy that's going to be taking the net for any playoff games that the Bruins play. So you better get your bleep in order and be ready to see a good amount of rubber until the season ends. That's just unless they have, the only time I think that maybe they should deviate is they've got, is it this week they have back-to-back? Yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight they have New Jersey, and then tomorrow, so tonight being Monday on the 16th, on the 17th, St. Patrick's Day, which is, it should be a hoot at the TD Garden on St. Patrick's Day. Oh, no, actually, they're playing in Montreal. So these are back-to-back games, and they're traveling. So,
and it's a little bit of a jaunt. I mean, it's a little bit of a flight. And so,
yeah. So I don't know if they'll split the net. I mean,
I have to imagine so.
They're going to split the net, right? They're going to have to split the net. So, short of that, Swayman's got to be the guy. Unless you're playing back-to-back games, I'm sorry, Swayman's got to be the guy.
He has to. I agree. So let's talk a little bit about what's going around the rink, because like we said, there's a ton of things happening that they're not just interesting as hockey fans, but also we could see the repercussions and things for the Bruins. But first of all, of course, I don't want to forget that Team USA has, for the first time ever, gone 3 for 3 gold medals in Olympic hockey. The para team took gold against Canada, so I think that's also pretty hilarious that it was against the same team in all 3 games.
So we've got the women, the men, and our para-Olympians. Congratulations, and it was a clean sweep. Get out the brooms of Team Canada in all 3 instances. So, who's better at hockey now?
Exactly. Well, and then also speaking of international play, as we've mentioned before, in a couple of years, in 2028, the NHL is going to be hosting the World Cup of Hockey, and the cities were narrowed down back in December to 16 cities, with Bettman mentioning, the desire to have most of the games in North America, but also having a European host city as well. And actually, literally today, they announced Prague as the European city, and then Calgary and Edmonton as the North American cities. So we're getting a little bit closer to more international play.
And apparently there was a video circulating somewhere, we'll need to find it at some point, where this was all kind of, the beans were spilled in a video by the likes of David Pastrnak, Cale Makar, and Connor McDavid.
Yep. Yeah. I think it makes a lot of sense that they did end up with an Edmonton-Calgary pairing for North America. They're very close to each other physically. And I mean, you could make the case like, oh, but the California teams or the New York teams are really physically close. But like, let's also be honest. There's more room, and it's probably more affordable for them to host these games in a place like Alberta. So And Prague hosted the Worlds 2 years ago.
This is also a way of kind of, like, I don't know if I would call Calgary a small market team, but at some point, you've got to spread the wealth, so to speak, across the league, right? And so I would imagine that this is all agreed to by members of the board of governors and league officials. So,
yeah. And I think if you're going to be doing a World Cup of Hockey for the first time, and at this point, like, I can't even remember how long it's been, you want to make sure that it's in the right venues. This is not an event to experiment, like Florida outdoor games for a winter classic, like, or as in Canada when they have the heritage classics, like, this is meant to showcase and celebrate the traditions of hockey, and having it in Canada first and foremost. I mean, certainly I think they could have gone with the two states of hockey in North America, but those two states are very far away from each other. Massachusetts and Minnesota, not very close, not good for travel. So it makes a ton of sense that the North American venue is there. And then in Europe, Prague has been, and the Czech Republic has been growing as a hockey force for quite some time. Like I said, they hosted the IIHF Worlds a couple years ago when Pasta won, or when Boston had their early exit. So fantastic.
And these are the type of things, too, events where this is where the NHL takes the opportunity to grow its sport worldwide. This is where there are legitimate ways to grow your sport across the world.
Exactly. So the other news that's kind of impacting every team is honestly the injury to Austin Matthews from Radko Gudas, who clearly committed the crime of the knee on knee, which can be surprisingly damaging. Like, it doesn't seem like it would be something that
you can ruin someone's career. I'm going to go off on a tangent on this because I went off on a tangent, not a total tangent on Morning Brew, but they agreed with me. There are certain hits in the beautiful sport of hockey that should never happen. Yeah. Hits to the head and knee-on-knee chucks. Right. Those are potential career-ending hits. They have no business, no place in the game. And I don't care who you are or who you hit.
Yeah.
Okay? You deserve to have the friggin' book thrown at you. And the fact that Gudas, who I don't give a shit that he hadn't been suspended in 7 years. I don't give a shit. He ended Austin Matthews' season.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah. Pretty serious.
Got five games. And anyone that I have listened to, either on the set of TNT or the set of ESPN or podcasts, are all in agreement. It was not enough. And for George Parros and the rest of those boneheads that look at this stuff and say that 5 games is enough, you're all idiots. You should all be stripped of your jobs. You should all be stripped of your jobs because you know not what you are doing any longer.
Right. I think this, do I think anything's necessarily going to come of it? No, unfortunately. However, it's good that there is additional conversation happening. The GMs are having their meeting this week, and I'm sure that this is going to be a topic of conversation in general.
This is a big topic of this is going to be a big topic of conversation.
And the solution is
season has begun. Is this what we're doing now? We're going to take out star players, right? Or players.
Well, here's the thing, right? So first of all, don't expect any sort of significant major changes immediately, because these rulings from player safety, things like suspensions and what have you, those are all negotiated via the CBA. So it's not just a simple, like, we're going to just change and reform player safety. But what I would love to see, because we've also talked on our podcast about a number of times when player safety has seriously screwed up, which was the swing to the head of Trent Frederick by
Trouba. Jacob Trouba.
Trouba. I was thinking Trocheck.
Yeah.
Yes, by Trouba, and there was nothing. And then the recent re-injury to Charlie McAvoy's head by that flying elbow from Florida. And there was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing came of that. This league, and again, I understand it can be a complicated thing to make a decision, right? There's always going to be somebody who's not happy. But if this league is actually committed to player safety, they would decide that these are the injuries or the penalties that are non-negotiable, zero tolerance. Hits to the head and to the knee. Let's just say, I'm sure there are others, but as an example, that if you commit this crime, it doesn't matter what your record is. You could be totally clean, first-time offender. But because the risk is so great to ending another person's career, their ability to be, you could permanently damage somebody and they'll now be disabled or what have you. And so you have to make a decision. Is it legitimately important that these things stop? Because Department of Player Safety, Gary Bettman, the league, they have the ability to change the behavior of the players. They have done it before. They did it in the 90s when they decided there needed to be a lot less just random fighting, and all the clutching and grabbing, and they told refs to crack down on no more of this, and it backed way off. So if you are serious about player safety, if you're serious about protecting these players from significant head injuries, forget even CTE. Like at this point, he's never going to admit that that's a thing, but we all know head injuries are bad. Knee injuries can cost you everything.
Right.
So be serious, because I was listening to 32 Thoughts and they did an evaluation of all of the decisions that have been handed down for, I don't know, whatever stretch of time, how many games were handed out as suspension. And there is no common number. It's willy-nilly. So is this a serious injury? Is this a serious problem? Or is it not? Because I think it is. And the league just needs to do something about it.
I would like to, and I understand about, that it was, a lot of this has been negotiated by the players themselves. But as players, don't you think you want to see this change?
Oh, for sure.
How is that okay? That you see one of your colleagues, a teammate, a friend, whatever the case may be, it's taken out at the knee like that, or suffers such a severe and sustained concussion that it could be career ending, and a guy only gets 5 games for that. He gets to continue his livelihood after 5 games while you're sitting at home having to wait for doctors and surgeries and therapies and conditioning and all this other stuff so that you can get back and get healthy to be available to your team and your teammates again. It's it's bullshit.
It is. It is. And since we're ranting about player safety, I also think it is complete and utter bullshit that it is quite literally against the rules for somebody like Charlie McAvoy to opt to wear a bubble. Because that man is not going to have any teeth by the end of the season, Maria. And he is not allowed to wear a bubble.
Yeah,
I don't know if he wants to wear a
seem
bubble.
to make a lot of sense to me either.
I don't know if he wants to wear one.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's not allowed to, if he wanted to, he's going to need to be drinking his food for a long time.
No, likely for most of the summer.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because he's going to have some extensive dental work done.
Yes. Yeah. I like serious dental work. So, Department of Player Safety is, and always has been, at least since Peros has been around, a joke. And the fact that
it's almost as if they mailed it in. Right. Everybody knows that when they say to you, right, we're going to have an in-person hearing, it's a minimum of 5 games, right? It's a minimum. We've seen enough of this stuff to know. But then you decided 5 was enough? Like what? You didn't have time to finish the phone call with them to tack on? Because what I'm hearing is I think people would have been okay with 8 to 10 games. I don't know if that would have appeased Austin Matthews' agent, who was
But I think
furious.
players in general.
But I think the players in general, people across the league, 8 to 10 games would have been sufficient.
Right. And again, for the type of infraction that he committed, I don't care if it has been since 2019 that he hasn't been suspended. I don't care. And the fact of the matter is, he did it 3 weeks ago to Sidney Crosby. So clearly he knows what he is about. Which again leads us to our next kind of fun little thing that happened around the rink.
So
Mitch
that
Marner
was a serious thing. That was a serious thing. This is a silly thing.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, Mitch Marner, I don't know if it was inadvertent or not, told the world what happened to Sidney Crosby, and the extent of his knee injury, which, I mean, I think we all know it's always generally pretty secretive throughout the season, not just because you don't want other teams to strategize around the health of your team, but I still think that there's a legitimate concern and fear that some other player who's a terrible person may then try to exploit your weakness and your injury.
Right.
So, but it's out there.
And,
So
maybe some people think that, the thing with the NHL and their not unwillingness to disclose injuries and maintaining it to upper or lower body injuries. I guess I understand that to a degree, because you don't want a guy coming back from an injury where everybody knows what that injury is and make that player somewhat vulnerable to, another hit in that area.
Yeah.
Right.
Or know when he's going to come back, because you can also be pretty vague and say, oh yeah, like 3 to 6 weeks. So, all those teams that they're going to be playing against during that time period, they don't know if this player is going to be back and if they need to change up their lines, think about how they want to play against, because is he going to be there? Is he not going to be there? That's the question. So, needless to say, all of this situation, Gudas, Matthews, Sid, has gotten to the point where even Connor McDavid has been asked, and he did weigh in on the situation, which, if you know anything about the state of hockey, at this point, it would seem that Connor McDavid is the unofficial official mouthpiece of players across the league. That if he says something, and he's not one to just randomly say things, but we know that Gary Bettman values his opinion. He was involved in the revamp of the All-Star game directly and things like that. The fact that he said, basically, we need to rethink maybe how Department of Player Safety makes decisions on things like suspensions. He didn't specifically mention the situation that happened with Matthews, although Matthews and McDavid share an agent. But every player saw what happened, and every player most certainly has an opinion on what happened, because either you very well could be someone like Matthews, or you have been, or could be someone like Gudas, and you're going to have an opinion on what's happened. So, and it seems like no party is satisfied with what's happened.
No, and I mean, Austin Matthews' agent was, for those of you who didn't read his comments, he ripped George Peros and the Department of Player Safety up and down, backwards, forwards, and sideways. He basically called for the suspension of the Department of Player Safety. Now, I understand, it's his player, he's his agent. Someone has got to speak up. And I think it's a very slippery slope for players to say anything. I think it's a very slippery slope for coaches or even general managers. They
literally cannot. They will be fined.
Is not bound by any of that stuff. So I can't say as I blame him, because he's saying what we all feel, things that we have said in one way, shape, or form. And if Gary Bettman and the rest of his cronies doesn't take a deep dive into this, then they're really friggin' tone deaf.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So, that being said, let's talk about...
Just get quickly, too, on the Austin Matthews hit.
Yes.
The other part of that, because we have discussed this as it relates to the Toronto Maple Leafs in the past, and feeling like there's a lack of culture, camaraderie, call it what you want.
Yeah.
After Austin Matthews was laid out in the manner in which he was laid out in, no one came to his... No one in a Maple Leafs jersey did a damn thing about it.
Yeah.
No one. To the point when Craig Berube was asked about it post-game, even he said that it would have been nice to see some type of a response when you see your captain out on the ice like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If I were not a Bruins fan, I would say you got to throw away that whole team. But I am a Bruins fan, so screw the Leafs, and I hope they continue to be terrible forever.
Well, I will tell you one person who has been a loyal Maple Leaf supporter, and that is one Paul Bissonnette, who basically said on the set of TNT last night that they really should rip it down to the studs. It might be time to consider ripping it down to the studs.
It's poison in there. I agree. So, I know we've talked a lot about what's happened in the league and kind of the Bruins in general. I mean, there's no point in rehashing a lot of the uninspired play that we've seen since we last spoke. So let's just talk about who's in the penalty box this week.
The power play.
Yeah.
The power play is in the freaking penalty box. It's just, it is, you simply, the fact that you've had 32 power play opportunities, actually in both games against the Capitals, I believe they received 4 power play opportunities in each of those games, one of which was a 5-on-3. Okay? You simply can't waste those opportunities. You have scored only 4 goals and you've given up 2 shorthanded goals. It sucks. It sucks.
Yeah. It's at this point, I'm at a loss, because how are we here again? How are we here?
I don't know. And I don't want to hear about oh, the movement is good. No, it's not good unless you frickin' score. Because I would give you credit if, yes, your movement's good, you're generating energy and offensive chances, and then you continue that into your 5-on-5 play. But it's not even bleeding into the 5-on-5 play because you're not scoring 5v5 either.
Right. What else is in the box?
Hampus Lindholm. I am sick and tired. Hampus, I am sick and tired of your stick infractions. I've had a freaking enough of your stick infractions. And honestly, I don't know what's going on with Hampus, but he simply doesn't seem to be the same player since he sustained these injuries. Because this was a guy who exhibited offensive skill, good offensive skating skills for a defenseman. And I haven't seen any of that.
No.
I haven't seen any of that. So, I don't know if he's still hampered by injuries or if the significance of those injuries have hampered his skating, but he doesn't look like the same player.
No, I agree. Stick taps. Let's end on a positive note.
I gotta give stick taps to Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah.
Because, I have criticized him. I've been waiting to see this Charlie McAvoy for I don't know how many years now. I still get a little frustrated by the fact that, you needed this incentivization. Okay, fine. But he has been in beast mode, man. In absolute beast mode. So
anyone else?
I'm going to put Jeremy Swayman in as a stick tap because, he has been playing net for the most part like a big dog. You need him to be a big dog. And you wanted the moniker of the guy, number one guy. So it's yours. It's yours to take and it is yours to keep.
Agreed. As long as he can continue to play consistently, I think he's been a little bit up and down, but quite frankly, with the way that everyone else has been playing, I think his stick taps are well deserved, and let's just hope that we can see our big guys start scoring. We need to see goals. At the end of the day, they have to score goals, and they're just not doing
Listen,
it.
You're preaching to the choir, and I'm sure they're very well aware of their struggles. And I know it's got to be a thing too, where you're gripping your stick a little bit tighter with each passing game when you're on the offensive struggle bus.
Yeah.
But they've got to find a way out of it because even if they make the playoffs, which I'm still concerned about that based on their strength of schedule, but right, you're not going to get very far if you're not scoring goals and your special teams is not clicking. So
Agreed. It will be brutal. It's going to be tough the next couple of weeks. But any final thoughts, Maria?
Pasta, please. Pasta, if you're listening to me, I know you had your second baby girl and you're probably tired. Please shoot the puck when you have the opportunity. Shoot the puck.
Please. Well, make sure you like and subscribe for more content and be sure to leave a rating and review to help other Bruins fans find us. You can support the pod by joining our Patreon or following us on our socials at Tape to Tape MK and on Substack at tape2tapemk.substack.com. And as always, go Bees!
Go Bees!